All right, how we doing, Cardinal fans? Sorry I missed you last week. I was off on vacation for the weekend. Don't worry, I saw the collapse that we all saw. Won't touch on it really much here, but we're going to look at a preview of this upcoming week's game against James Madison University. Interesting NIL situation that happened at UNLV, which is kind of a similar size school and athletic program as Ball State. So we'll kind of look at what that means going forward for schools like Ball State. And we're also going to look at the basketball teams. Got some new uniforms that kind of got released yesterday. They're pretty sweet. And we have our first viewer voicemail that we're going to do on the show here. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get into the special hurricane edition of Ball State of the Union. All right, everyone. It is Thursday, September 26th evening. I'm down here in southeast Florida. We are feeling some effects from the hurricane, but thankfully we're kind of out of the really bad stuff. So keep people in your thoughts and prayers who are going to be going through this. This is a really serious storm. And so kind of keep everyone in the Big Bend, Tallahassee, Tampa, all those areas over there on the Gulf Coast side. But we're good down here. Let's just kind of get right into it. We're looking this weekend, James Madison University, Saturday, September 28th, 1:30 p.m. We might have some hurricane, conditions up there that we're going to have to play through potentially. We'll wait and see how that all develops. Again, these storms can kind of go this way, that way, kind of on a dime, and you never really know what to expect. So be prepared for some rain. That would hopefully benefit, Ball State and kind of slow down this offense that James Madison has. We're looking at the betting lines for the game. Ball State is plus 21 points. I know it's kind of jumping back and forth a little bit here, but they are, a big favorite, 3-touchdown favorite. Over is 56.5 points, which Ball State has hit the over in all their games so far this year. So that's probably looking pretty good. Obviously, the tail of any game going forward is going to be Ball State's defense. Scoring defense-wise, currently we're 131st out of 133. Let me repeat that. Our scoring defense currently is 131st out of 133. There's only two teams with worse scoring defense than us right now. And we're averaging, giving up 44.33 points a game, which, if you've been paying attention to James Madison, is going to play right into their favor because they are the 25th scoring offense in the country out of 133 teams at 37.7 points. You'll see, last week they went to an ACC school in North Carolina and put up 70 points, 70. James Madison put up 70 points on North Carolina. What are they going to do to our defense? Scoring offense-wise, it's a little bit better. We're 94th out of 133 at 25.3 points per game. Obviously, we had the Miami game where we didn't score at all, so it's a little bit of an outlier. But yeah, we can score a little bit more, and their scoring defense is 58th in the country, doing 21 points a game. So I feel a little bit better about the offensive side of the ball here because I think we have, a pretty strong quarterback, and we have some pretty good playmakers with the receivers, and obviously Tanner Koziel running the ball, Braden Sloan. I think our offense is going to be okay. I just don't really have any faith that defense is going to be able to stop anybody at all so far. And James Madison's a very good team. Obviously, they're 3-0. They're receiving top 25 votes to be, ranked, which I think they were ranked up as high as 18 last year as an up-and-coming program. So they're 3 games so far this year. Again, 3-0. They won at Charlotte 30-7. At home against Gardner-Webb and won 13-6. So that's a little bit interesting note there. Playing a lesser opponent and, kind of winning by 7 points. And then obviously the big one at University of North Carolina, an ACC team, winning 70-50. That's kind of a crazy score, kind of just any way you look at it. So Ball State's going to have their hands full, again, especially on the defensive side of the ball, trying to slow these guys down. And also, look at that. Sellout. The student section sold out. I'm pretty sure the regular tickets are sold out as well. I'd love for that to happen at Ball State. And so, it's just, how do we get there? We just need to win, and then the fans will come. The seats will be sold. So kudos to James Madison for do that. It's only, I believe, their second or third year in the FBS. They're a team like Missouri State who kind of come up a level, and they've been having great success. So I think we're going to get smoked this weekend. But I don't think that we're going to lose by more than 21 points, or the spread's kind of jumping around a little bit. But I think we covered the spread, but obviously, I mean, that's still 3 scores. That's losing by a ton. And I think the over hits. I think you just keep going with the over until it doesn't work anymore. So we've had a very tough non-conference schedule so far. Playing Missouri State, who is currently an FCS team, but next year's going to be moving up. Obviously, playing Miami, who's going to be right in the thick of this national championship conversation probably all year. Then we play James Madison this week, another undefeated team. Could be a fringe top 25 team. They're right there in the spot for that G5 automatic playoff bid. So it doesn't get any easier, obviously. And then we have Vanderbilt in a couple of weeks, an SEC opponent. So I'm sure of all the years for us to have a super hard non-conference schedule, Coach New and this coaching staff probably wished it wasn't this year. It's such a pivotal year for, whatever their futures are going to hold. And so, yeah, it's going to be tough sledding. I mean, I don't really envision us winning this game. I don't envision it being particularly close, but if I have to look at something, I'll look at, Ball State Ball State losing by less than 21 points. So that's kind of what I have on this game. And so, let me know down below what your guys' thoughts are. I would really love a win. Last week's game, was really deflating, so many highs and lows in such a short period of time, going 97 yards with 2 minutes left, to take the lead. It seems like 99% of the time you're going to wrap that game up. You go up by 4 with 50 seconds left. And we didn't. We found a way to lose it. So these guys just got to figure out ways to win. It's pretty simple. So figure out ways to win, or it's going to be bye-bye for pretty much everybody involved. So we will see how that goes. Now, one of the biggest topics in college football and college sports just in general is this name, image, and likeness that's been around for a couple of years now. And so I'll kind of throw this up here. You might have heard, let me see if I can get maybe a little bit right there. You can kind of read it with the watermarks on here. It kind of makes it a little difficult to read sometimes. But so yesterday, UNLV, they're 3-0. They've beaten 2 Big 12 teams. They're ranked for the first time ever. Yesterday, their quarterback announced that he is going to be entering the transfer portal before their 4th game comes around, so he can save his redshirt, or he can redshirt and save another year eligibility, because this is the last year of eligibility if he were to play another game. And basically that happened because he came out and said, hey, I was promised when I transferred from Holy Cross, I had an NIL deal in place with UNLV per the coaching staff for $100,000. I haven't been paid any of it. I think maybe he got like $3,000 for moving expenses, but that's $97,000 short for what he's supposed to be having. And so he basically came out and said, I'm not playing anymore. If I'm not going to get paid, I'm going to save this eligibility. It's my last chance, to go make money somewhere, because it's pretty unlikely that he's going to have any sort of career in the NFL. So this is really his last chance to make money playing football. And so if he plays one more game for UNLV, he can't redshirt now. And so now he's, really at the mercy if they're just going to decide to pay him or not. And so that kind of got me thinking and then, UNLV's come out and said there was no deal in place, this, that, and the other. And so it's kind of a he said, she said situation about who is right here. And it's kind of the Wild West in terms of how this is all being operated right now. There's not really any rules or regulations. And so things can kind of get really messy like this. And so what does this have to do with Ball State? So Ball State and UNLV are both a group of 5 schools. And so basically they are in a similar situation, because stuff that could happen there could happen at Ball State pretty easily. And so if this situation happened at Ball State, I feel like UNLV would be more apt to be able to come up with $100,000 to pay this guy if they really wanted to or really needed to. Whereas Ball State, that would be some uphill sledding trying to get that done. Whereas at the bigger schools, that probably wouldn't be an issue. Obviously, it'd probably be more than $100,000, but excuse me, even if that were the case, they'd be able to come up with that money and make this problem go away if they really wanted to. So how do you fix this? How does this get to a point where, and so let me backtrack a little bit. Another rumor out there or thought out there is that maybe a Power 5 school, or Power 4 school now, came to the quarterback UNLV and said, hey, if you transfer out now, we'll pay you $300,000 instead of $100,000 or whatever it might have been. And so that's no good either, because that means the big schools can basically just come in and take whoever they want, which they already can. So how do we combat this? So I have a couple thoughts. So the first one is, I think when you come play college football, there should be a contract in place. If there's going to be money involved, there should be a contract in place. So it can be anywhere between a 1 year to 4 year contract that you and the school can decide upon of what you want to do. If the school comes to you and says, hey, we really want to put you on a 2 year contract for X number of dollars, but you're really looking for a 3 year contract, well, maybe school number B is going to give you a 3. So it's kind of a way to keep competition open in terms of how you're going to get people. And then that way, this situation wouldn't really happen, because then Matt Sluka, the quarterback from UNLV, come back and say, well, look here, you said you're going to pay me $100,000. You haven't paid me anything yet. Here's what the contract says. You guys are violating this contract. So basically he should have some recourse, and the school should have some recourse too. So he can't come back and then say, oh, hey, you owe me this much more. So again, I haven't really heard anything of this happening at Ball State. It maybe very well has, I don't know, but it's just a situation that easily could take place there. So yeah, we have contracts. And then I also think in those contracts, there should be some sort of buyout clause. So if we look back a couple of years ago at Ball State with Carson Steele, who everyone at Ball State loves, he's having a great career with the Chiefs so far, getting off to a good start in his rookie year. If UCLA comes in and says, hey, Carson, we'll give you, $200,000, $300,000, Ball State is the team that went out and found him. No other school gave him an offer to play running back. And so they found him, they developed him, and then these schools can just come kind of swoop him away. And, they can't really do anything about it. They don't have the money to match. So, at least with the old system, they would have to give up a year to sit out to go do that. So that kind of deterred people from leaving a little bit. But now with this new era and then the transfer portal, and you can go right away, that doesn't happen anymore. So these small schools are even more susceptible to having their players poached. So I think a buyout clause makes a lot of sense, so that if for some reason that scenario happens, yes, you're going to lose the player, but you're at least going to get some additional resources and money for that. So it's kind of a way to keep things a little more fair. And then just as another side note, this isn't as big of a deal. It's more has to do with the bigger schools. But I think there should be a salary cap in place for the Power Four and the Group of Five. I don't know how they would come up with that. It just is going to keep, the Ohio States, the Georgias, the Alabamas, the really big schools from just being able to, spend as much money as they want. I think a salary cap's good. Obviously, a salary cap is not going to be the same at Ball State as it is going to be at, University of Oregon by chance. But if it's by conference or by just kind of Group of Five and the Power Four, that might make kind of sense. So I don't know. There's a lot to digest. The NCAA has kind of washed their hands of trying to figure this out, it seems like. So I don't know how it's going to get figured out, but let me know your best ideas on how to combat these problems with NIL, with a school like Ball State, what they could do or what you would like them to do to kind of protect themselves. And obviously what the players can do to protect themselves until they have, some sort of players association. It's going to be tough for them to get, these protections put in place because there's no organization to really do that. So, okay, we kind of rambled on that one for a little bit, but that's all right. That's what we're here to do. So next, the Ball State basketball teams got some new uniforms, which I think are pretty sweet. So I'm going to put up this one first. And let me kind of switch to this here. So this one I like well enough. It's a black jersey and got that kind of different, like kind of italic or old style type script. But this is the one I really like. This one has, what you can tell is clearly like the Ball Corporation's script in it, where it says Ball State. It looks just like it is on the cans and bottles and everywhere you see it. And I believe the women's basketball team has one as well. I wasn't able to get a picture of theirs easily. But I think it's a really cool script. I think it would be cool to incorporate that more into our uniforms and our branding across, the school as a whole, because it's a unique feature that we have. We have the Ball organization. Obviously, they're the Ball and Ball State. They're the same people. And so it's just kind of a cool memento to some of our alumni and founders. And I know I'd love to see it on a helmet used in the game. I've seen one kind of in the background of Mike New's office. I don't know if he was meant it to be there or what, but I've seen one there before. And I just think it's pretty cool. So that is kind of the main portion of this episode of All State of Union. But we do have one viewer voicemail, and we are going to go ahead and play that for you now. So,
what's up, buddy? This is Shag Kramer. Worked with you when we were Ball State football managers back in, 2013, 2014. Just calling to review last week's game in Mount Pleasant. It leaves a sour taste in my mouth from the last time I was in Mount Pleasant when I was with you guys. I remember we were at the casino the night before the game, and all you guys were ready to leave, and I was at the roulette table, and you were telling me what number to put it on. You told me to put it on black 29, and I thought you were crazy. And so I put it on red, and they spun it, and sure enough, here John was right with it landed right on black 29. And what made me sick is I asked the dealer how much I would have won. He said I would have probably won $1,500. So my ass was chapped already.
Should listen
from Mount Pleasant the last time, and then I watched this weekend's game, and it just brought back sickening feeling, just like that time in the casino. Again, I don't know, under Coach New, it just seems like we have time and time again, we have a chance to win a game, we can't close it out. If his seat didn't get hotter after that game, I don't know what coach deserves to coach at the FBS level. So I hope we start seeing some turnaround here in the next few games, but there's still a lot of question marks after this game. Love what you're doing, John. Glad to hear from you on the next Ball State of the Union. And as always, Ball State football or die. Chirp, chirp.
There we go. Chirp, chirp, Che. Yeah. So I haven't necessarily talked about this on the show or the channel yet, but for 1 year, I was a student manager for Ball State's football team in 2014. So that ended up being Pete Limbo's last season. Shea, he was the head student manager there. He's, a good friend. And we were at the casino in Mount Pleasant. We were playing Central Michigan. That was, if you remember, when Scott Secor hit, I believe it was like a 55-yard field goal. It was like a line drive to win the game. But we were at the casino the night before. We were all ready to go. I gave him the number, that black 29. He didn't take it. And if you're a junior in college and someone else, you have a chance to win $1,500. You might as well win $1 million. So Shay, I'm sure that one probably still hurts. Next time I tell you to bet black 29, you better go ahead and do it. But he's exactly right. The seats are only going to get hotter after games like that. It seems like for years now, we have these close games that we just don't find a way to win. If you look back at any number of the games, like for instance against Miami, Ohio, the last few years in the Redbird rivalry, it seems like they've all been close games, come down to the wire, and something crazy happens, and we can't get it done. So that's not to say we don't ever win close games, but it feels like we're losing more of these close games than we don't. So I hope that changes. I think continuity is great, especially in this day and age of college football. So if it can work out where, Coach New and the staff can stay, he's, a distinguished alumni of the school, of the program. And so I think he's someone who really wants to be there. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's about winning. And so if we're not going to get wins, then we're going to have to move on at the end of the day. So if you're ever interested in leaving a voicemail, the phone number is 317-426-6341. That's 317-426-6341. And I'll just kind of take them as they come in. And so if you, leave one now, it'll be on the next episode. If you leave one after the game on Saturday, it'll be on the next episode, whenever. So just kind of call in whenever. Again, that's 317-426-6341. Your question or comment or whatever can be about Ball State football. It can be about Ball State in general. It can be about what you ate for lunch that day. I don't really care. I just want to talk to some of you, and you can include whatever you want to say and add to the show. So 317-426-6341. Call in whenever, and we will add that as soon as the next show comes. So thank you guys very much for stopping by and watching the show today. If you wouldn't mind, please subscribe to the channel. I'd like to get to 100 subscribers by the end of football season if possible. Leave some comments, leave some likes, tell your friends about it. Call Charlie Cardinal and tell him about it. Whoever you want to talk to about it, tell them about Ball State of the Union. And we will see you next time. again, pray for everyone in the path of this hurricane. These aren't any jokes. It's going to be a pretty bad one. Thankfully, we're out of really any big harm. We're on the opposite side of the state, but it's still a big storm, and we're even feeling effects from it, hundreds of miles away. So thank you guys again for your support, and chirp, chirp, and go Cardinals.